So Ra continues and says, in the experiences of the mystical search for unity, these need never be considered, for they are but part of an illusory system. In the experiences of the mystical search, which is the seeker who seeks the one, these concepts or these fields of work, these field of activity need not be considered. You see, we're talking about the physical reality, that would be space-time, where we're doing things and I need to do that, and certain things need to be accomplished, and there's a lot of activity in the physical. That's space-time. And then there is the mental activity and the consideration of the self and everything else that goes in. This is in third density, of course, where that's the mind, that time-space. That is our accompanying time-space. And I hope to make a video in the future where I did it in Spanish, I didn't do it in English back then, but I describe the way I see it, the different layers of space-time and time-space that exist, along with the other dimensions that I'm not going to mention yet. But these two, how they relate between dimensions or densities. And Ra mentioned something here. So these need never be considered, because when you're seeking the one, you are not concerned with the mind processes and with the physical, of course, which is really what we're super concerned with. So that one is easy to understand. That one is easier to resign and say, okay, yep, I don't care about the physical. But a lot of people do. A lot of people are living the physical a lot. Well, I would think that the metaphysical student, or the people who are involved in seeking and understanding this reality, they get very involved with the mental activity. And mental activity substitutes the activity of the physical. And this is an illusory system as well. This is why you need to just give up your mind. We call it mushin in Japanese, which means literally no mind. Mu is no, or a negative, and shin is the heart mind. No mind. The true mind is no mind. And that is because the mind is creating the illusory part of time-space. So in our projections, we're still working within the illusion. Of course, I'm not saying that all of this is useless. It has its purpose for experience, development, and so on. But here we're talking about the seeking of the one, as Ra says. In the experiences of the mystical search. What is the mystical? The mystical is that seeking of that mystery. It has the same root. The mystery is that which is ineffable, indescribable, yet is there. It is felt. So in the mystical search for unity, look at those two terms, mystical and unity. Unity is something that cannot be described by the mind, nor can it be experienced by the body. So it can only be known. Unity can only be known. And in this, then of course time, space, and space-time are not useless, but they are not to be considered. They sort of muddy the water in the search, in the seeking. And that is because they are part of an illusory system. The one thing that exists is intelligent infinity. If we can go back to the creation. The creation, as the Kybalion says as well, is all mind. I think that's a great word. It's all mind. The whole creation is one mind. But even the mind is an illusory creation of infinity to experience itself, rightfully so, but it's still an illusory system. So the mind itself is illusory, and intelligent infinity creates intelligent energy, which is that manifestation of intelligent infinity, which starts moving and creating all of the densities and all of the physical matter that we know, all of the different vibrations that the atom or the photon will vibrate at, and the patterns of movement and so on. All of this is part of an illusory system. And so Ra emphasizes and says the seeker seeks the one. What does it mean? I mean, all the upward spiraling prana, which is the evolving manifestation of the self, is seeking the one. That upward spiraling prana, that direction of up, is not our direction of up here in 3 dimensions, but the upward directions of infinity, the seeking of infinity. And it goes through the lowest portions, or the highest portions of separation, which is matter. And then it goes into second density, entities, plants, animals, and so on. And then it goes to humans, and it starts getting closer and closer to unity. So the seeker seeks the one. The seeker is obviously a human here, or a third density being. This one is to be sought. That is the purpose of everything. By the balanced and self-accepting self. Here's another huge phrase. When Ra says that this one is to be sought by the balanced and self-accepting self. This is already implying that the seeker must be, or should be, balanced and self-accepting. These are lower energy centers work, the things that need to be worked with. And you see balance. What are you balancing? You're balancing yourself first by the lower energy centers, and then coordination by the 4th and 5th chakra. And the self-accepting self is what we have been discussing for a long time already, which is whoever you are. You have to accept yourself with both, aware both of your apparent distortions and your total perfection. Your apparent distortions are what's manifested here, what seems to be separate, what seems to be an individual self, not only in your physical reality or your ego self, but even in time space. What you consider to be, let's say, for example, people who talk about, well, I have had so many incarnations, I feel like I am a 4th density wanderer, or a graduate, or what have you. All of that is it's illusory again. These are your apparent distortions. All of your identities are distortions of infinity. Again, I don't want this to sound like it's a negative thing. We should avoid feeling identified with, a being of pure love, or a being of wisdom, or whatever it is. It's just that all of this never need to be considered, because it deviates. It really deviates from the seeking. The seeking needs to be in pure silence, in no distortion, in no movement at all. Stillness is the key here. And this reminds me of a story that Alan Watts says, or tells, where the master asked the students, what is the way? And the student says, the Tao. The Tao is the way. And the master says, no, your everyday mind is the way. There is no concept. You see, as soon as you put your mind into work and you create activity, you're deviating. I wish I could remember this story well. It's a very short one too. It's almost like a saying, actually. But I think it was asked to Lao Tzu, speaking of the Tao, to Lao Tzu said someone, I think it was Lao Tzu, might have been somebody else, how do I go in accordance with the Tao? And Lao Tzu, or whoever it was, said, when you try, you deviate. meaning that your own desire, which is another word in Buddhism, your desires are the source of suffering. You see? So when you desire to be spiritual, you're deviating from spirituality. So we're seeking the one in a place of stillness. And in stillness, something beautiful happens. You are in the present, suddenly, without thought. You're just there. Ask an artist and they'll tell you exactly what that means. Maybe you're an artist and you know exactly what it is to be in the zone, as Jordan used to say and Aaron likes to remind us of, which is a beautiful way to explain how somebody can be in complete flow with reality. And so this is the premise of why time, space, and space-time are not needed for the seeker, at least for the pure seeker. There is still much more to uncover and discover, of course, from a third density perspective, thinking that you're a separate self, a human that's going to die, and then you open yourself to the reality that there is a different density in which you exist. Actually, nothing can be destroyed or created, so you just continue on with the same energy that you left this body and so on, and then you get fascinated with the metaphysical principles of reality and so on, and you get distracted with the beauty of the creation. However, it is still a distraction for the one purpose of reuniting with infinity. So